The brother who wasn't there last spring, a man named David, matched with someone called Sophie on Bumble. She seemed completely normal, a marketing professional who enjoyed hiking, with genuine-looking photos showing a cute brunette. Their conversations flowed naturally over several days, with Sophie wanting to take things slow, which David found refreshing. Before we continue, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on, and tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. Alright, let's dive back in. After a week of messaging, they arranged to meet for dinner on a Wednesday evening. Sophie chose an upscale restaurant in a quieter neighborhood. David arrived on time and texted her from the parking lot, but received no response. Minutes turned into 10, then 20. Standing by the hostess stand, David began feeling the sting of embarrassment as it appeared he was being stood up. The hostess confirmed no one named Sophie had checked in. After 30 minutes of waiting, David was preparing to leave when something unexpected happened. A middle-aged man approached him, directly scruffy, heavyset, wearing a black hoodie. "Are you David?" he asked. David was immediately confused, since his name wasn't on any reservation. The stranger introduced himself as Sophie's brother, explaining that Sophie had fallen ill but desperately wanted to meet David. She'd asked him to drive David to their apartment, which was supposedly just blocks away, since she didn't want to cancel their date. But why hadn't Sophie texted him herself? The man claimed her phone had died. His demeanor was calm and polite, yet something felt deeply wrong. When David asked for the address to walk there instead, the man insisted driving would be easier due to icy sidewalks. Then he said it would be better if he just showed David the way. David's instincts screamed at him. He announced he'd prefer to reschedule and headed toward the exit. That's when the man stepped directly into his path. Not aggressively, but enough to block David's way. The man said Sophie would be upset since she'd specifically asked him to bring David, after David insisted he'd text. Sophie later, the man stared at him for several uncomfortable seconds before stepping aside with a chilling, "Have a good night." Words that sounded more like a threat than a farewell. David rushed to his car and locked the doors immediately. As he pulled away, he saw the man standing outside the restaurant, watching him leave. But the nightmare was only beginning. Around 11 p.m. that night, David's phone buzzed with a Bumble message from Sophia's profile. "Why did you come?" David explained about her supposed brother. Sophie's response made his blood run cold. She didn't have a brother. When David tried to explain what happened, she stopped responding entirely. He attempted to sleep, but at 1 a.m., he received notifications that someone was trying to access his email, bank app, and Instagram all within minutes. He frantically changed passwords and enabled security features. The next morning, Sophie's profile had vanished from Bumble. Around noon, an unknown number texted, "You should have come with me." David blocked it immediately, but new numbers kept texting from different area codes. "We saw you. Next time, don't waste my time. You made it harder for yourself." One message used his full legal name, not the name he'd used on Bumble. Then came the knock on his apartment door. David froze on his couch. After silence, another knock came harder this time. He looked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. Then he heard heavy footsteps descending the stairs. The restaurant confirmed that a server had noticed a man in a hoodie pacing outside for nearly an hour before David arrived, watching, waiting. Police couldn't trace the numbers, and since no actual crime had been committed, they couldn't help. David deleted Bumble, changed his phone number, and changed all his passwords. After a week of quiet, David took out the trash behind his building one night. Tucked under the dumpster handle was a folded paper with his name on it. Inside was a photo of him from that night standing in the restaurant lobby, taken from outside the window. On the back, one word, "You." David couldn't sleep for days. He stayed with friends, jumping at every sound. Eventually, the messages stopped. Perhaps they just stopped revealing themselves. The terrifying truth: Sophie never existed. Someone had created an entire profile just to lure victims somewhere. And David still doesn't know who that man was or what would have happened if he'd have gotten into that car. He believes he was supposed to disappear that night. Story 2. The parking lot trap. After turning 30, Marcus decided to finally try online dating. He'd avoided it for years, but downloaded Hinge after his friend's recommendations. After several matches that went nowhere, he connected with a woman named Rebecca one Monday night while watching hockey. Rebecca's profile looked completely legitimate: workplace photos, videos with friends at a bar, concert pictures, and standard selfies. Marcus found her attractive, and they quickly bonded over jobs and hobbies. He suggested meeting at a local arcade bar that Friday. Rebecca took 4 hours to respond, finally agreeing around 1 a.m. Then Marcus heard nothing from her for 4 days, until 30 minutes before their date. Her text simply said, "On my way at our agreed upon time." Marcus arrived at the bar Friday at 8 p.m., immediately noticing something owed only to cars in the parking lot. This place should have been packed. He parked near the front entrance. Seconds after putting his car in park, Rebecca texted that she was having car trouble and was parking on the other side of the bar. Marcus's alarm bells went off. The other side of the bar was just dumpsters and a fence separating it from woods. Why would anyone park there? He tried calling after 1 ring. It went to voicemail. Immediately, another text arrived. "Please, just come around back and help with my car." Every instinct told Marcus something was very wrong. He texted back, "This doesn't feel right. I'm leaving." He put his car in reverse and started exiting the parking lot. That's when 2 men in ski masks came running from behind the bar straight toward his vehicle. Marcus didn't wait to see if they had weapons. He sped away, heart pounding, making it back to his apartment. Once home, he discovered a large dent on his trunk. One of them had apparently thrown a rock at his car as he escaped. He'd been so terrified, he hadn't even noticed the impact. Police took his report, but said there wasn't much they could do without leads. Strangely, this didn't completely scare Marcus away from dating apps. He just became much more careful, now insisting on video calls before meeting anyone in person. Story 3. The face behind the lies. During exam preparation season, Maria lived in a cramped city condo with 3 friends, all buried in study materials and occasional breakdowns. Seeking distraction from the stress, she met someone online. Let's call him Christopher. Christopher was charming, funny, and replied at just the right pace. They talked daily, then nightly, until it felt like dating. He seemed perfect, respectful, attentive, a great conversationalist. Maria would lie on her thin mattress for hours, listening to his voice. But there was one strange thing. He never showed his face on video calls. Christopher claimed his phone had been stolen and his laptop camera didn't work. Maria initially accepted this, but red flags began accumulating. The biggest issue: Christopher constantly requested explicit photos. Every single time, Maria firmly refused. She wasn't comfortable with that, especially online. But Christopher persisted relentlessly. They'd argue, he'd sulk, sometimes apologize, sometimes respect her boundaries only, to ask again the next day. The exhausting cycle repeated endlessly. Despite this, Maria wanted to meet in person to see if their connection was real. But every time she suggested meeting, Christopher had excuses: errands, busy schedule, not feeling well, family obligations, emergencies. It was always soon, but soon never came. Maria's friends warned her constantly. If he really wanted to see you, he'd find a way, they said. Even a 10-year-old laptop has a camera. Something's off. Deep down, Maria knew they were right, but she kept defending him. Then came December, weeks before Christmas. Maria invited Christopher to meet her family and spend Christmas together. For the first time, he said yes immediately. No hesitation, no excuses. Maria let herself believe maybe everything would work out. The day before their meet, Christopher called. His breathing was shaky, uneven. He was crying. "Can we talk?" he whispered. Maria's blood ran cold as he confessed. Everything was fake. The photos were stolen from an Indonesian influencer. His name was fake. His work, his nationality, all lies. Then he sent a photo of his real face. He claimed to be 24, but looked like he could be in his late 30s. In that moment, all his behavior clicked into place, the aggressive pushing for explicit photos, the avoidance of meeting. Everything became 10 times more disturbing, knowing what he actually was. When Maria said she wanted to break up, Christopher snapped. "So, you're just like the other girls. You only liked me because of the pictures. You never cared about me." He'd lied, deceived, and manipulated her yet. Somehow she was the villain. He ranted, she cried. He blamed her, then apologized, then begged. The full cycle of emotional manipulation condensed into 30 minutes. Then came the most unhinged part. "Please, just let me stay with your family on Christmas. I already told my parents I won't be home. I have nowhere else to go." Maria was stunned. Absolutely not. She muted him, blocked the numbers, and had a peaceful Christmas with her family. But Christopher didn't stay gone. For almost a year, life felt normal. Maria became active on Instagram again, posting selfies and cosplay photos. She'd forgotten one critical detail. She and Christopher still followed each other. One night, after posting stories, she got a message request from Christopher. "Hey, how have you been?" Maria didn't open it. She locked her phone and tossed it aside. But notifications kept coming every few hours. Eventually, she opened the chat and her entire body went cold. Sitting there was a photo of the front of her house. Her parents weren't home. Maria locked every door in the house, ran upstairs, locked her bedroom door, and called the police. Then she heard pounding. He was outside, yelling her name. "Please, just open the door. We can talk." His voice was desperate and unhinged. Maria crouched beside her bed, phone gripped tightly, while the dispatcher kept her calm. "We're on the way. Don't come out." Finally, she heard an officer shouting, then silence. They'd arrested him. When the officer came to check on her, his face was serious. He was holding a knife. Maria had to grip the doorframe to stay upright. She didn't know if he'd meant to threaten her, or hurt himself. None of the possibilities made her feel better. Her parents scolded her for trusting someone online and hiding it from them, but underneath the anger, they were relieved she was alive. Her mum hugged her like she'd come home from war. Thinking back on those words, "He was holding a knife," still gives Maria chills. Story 4. The Man at the Bar. Nathan had been in a 4-year relationship and didn't really know how to flirt anymore after becoming single again. He eventually joined Hinge, the app everyone recommended for serious dating. Within days, he matched with an attractive woman named Eleanor Short, Italian-looking, with black hair and tan skin. She looked like she worked out. After about 10 messages, Alina asked for Nathan's Instagram, saying she hated opening the Hinge app. Nathan found her account, Alina_X1 with 3 A's. She had 2,000 followers, followed 200 people, and had to post both mirror selfies that got lots of likes from thirsty-looking guys. She had a gym story up that also looked good. They continued their conversation on Instagram and surprisingly agreed to meet for drinks that same night at a bar in town. Alina said she was conveniently in the same area. Nathan arrived early at 8:50 p.m., knowing the bar and bartenders well. The place was slightly busy with open bar stools. He ordered an espresso martini and messaged Alina that he was there but she could take her time. Then he took a closer look at her profile. No tagged pictures. Not a single comment from a female-only men. He went to her following list and realized she didn't follow a single woman, only guys. What kind of girl doesn't follow any girlfriends? Around this time, a man sat on the stool next to him. "How you doing?" he said. Nathan nodded with a smile, but the man continued engaging. He asked if Nathan came there often because he recognized him. Nathan looked closer, maybe 38, slightly grey, overweight, with a patchy beard he should have shaved. Nathan didn't recognize him at all. The man introduced himself as Todd, reaching out for a handshake. "Oh, brother," Nathan thought, but shook his hand anyway. The bartender came over and said to this guy, "Finally decided to get a drink, I see." He gave a weird, subtle laugh. Wait, was this man already here before approaching Nathan? Nathan messaged Alina as a joke, "Help me. This weird guy I think is hitting on me." But his previous message was left unseen. He asked if she was on her way. He tried calling Alina through Instagram. She didn't pick up. It was past 9 p.m., and it seemed like she was ghosting him. He went to Hinge to find her profile was gone. Yep, he'd been catfished. Nathan asked for the check. Todd said, "Leaving already? Where are you from?" "Yeah, I got to get going," Nathan replied, annoyed at how aggressively this guy was trying to talk to him. Todd kept chatting, even saying Nathan should stick around because the hot chicks come around this time. As Nathan turned to leave, he felt a tight grip on his left wrist. Todd had grabbed him. "What the hell are you doing?" Nathan said loudly enough for others to notice. Todd started whispering and making a weird face. "I'm Alina. I'm sorry. Please don't go." Nathan felt disgusting, like he needed a shower. He felt violated. He broke free and hurried to his car. The drive home was silent. No music, no calls. He was still processing what felt embarrassing. When he got home, he collapsed into bed, staring at the ceiling. He went to block the Alina account, but found it already blocked or disabled. Nathan turned on the TV, trying to move on and planning to tell people tomorrow. Then, after turning off the light, there was an aggressively loud bang on his window. The blinds were closed. Instead of yelling, Nathan stayed quiet, watching the blinds in horror. Then a man's voice on the other side, saying his name, Nathan, over and over again. He refused to acknowledge it, but the voice knew he was there. It could see the TV light. Todd might have followed him without Nathan realizing. The voice said his name at least 10 times before it stopped. The next morning, Nathan lifted the blind to find a note on the other side of the glass. "I'll be watching you." Nathan didn't leave his apartment the rest of the weekend. He moved a few days later. These stories serve as chilling reminders that online dating requires extreme caution. Trust your instincts, verify identities through video calls, meet only in crowded public places, and never ignore red flags. These 4 people survived because they listened to that small voice of warning. Others may not have been so fortunate. If this story moved you, hit subscribe with notifications on, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from?